Welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Fun is Fundamental is a podcast for those who realize that the enjoyment of life is about having something deep in our souls which lights our fire. It's for those who maybe have lost that fire and feel like they are missing out on the pleasures of life. In each episode, I will share recent fun activities and focus on why having fun is essential for good health. I'm your host, Alenia, and I invite you to take this journey with me and join the pleasure-seeking movement.
How are you doing today, Kerie?
I'm doing awesome.
How was your holiday?
It was good. It was here it was peaceful, it was quiet, but everywhere else was loud.
Yeah. We live like fireworks are outlawed, but like right now we live it like right in the city center, so like it wasn't very loud, but like if you go out to like just out of the city center, it's like it was so loud. It's like when
Well,
people
I live out in the country, and across the way there's a person that bought a really nice piece of land and did a bunch of work, and they're bringing cows in, and they have a bunch of young people there. The fireworks that they were shooting off, and it was, yeah, it was not like that last year. So they were definitely having a party over there.
Yeah, yeah. Um I'm just glad I don't have like a dog or something like that. Like, those poor guys.
Yes. Yeah, poor animals. Yeah, it was even going until 12 o'clock at night.
I used to live in this area where I swear it would go till like 2 o'clock sometimes. And it's like I have to work tomorrow. Can you guys
I
stop?
know.
Like,
I
come
know.
on. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
not all of us are like on summer vacation.
exactly. So
Anyway, how has your summer been so far?
it's been good. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's
Nice.
yours?
Yeah, I'm always excited when summer's starting. But then it's like it gets so busy and I'm just like I feel like oh, I can't get everything done, because it's like plan on top of plan kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, and the weather's so nice too, and
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm excited about all the stuff that I planted this year that's starting to come up to bloom and blossom. And
Nice.
I love seeing that transition with, I love spring, I love summer, all the
Mhm.
flowers and the colors, and the butterflies and the dragonflies, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I know, like when it's March and like the first little crocuses are coming up and like the first little things are coming up. I'm like, it's happening, it's coming. Like I get so excited. I get so like
Yeah.
energized. I'm just like, spring's coming. I want to sing and
Yes.
dance.
Yeah, and I love planting seeds that come back every year.
Mm.
And so, I'm starting to see the fruits of those labors
Yeah.
come up, and I'm just big smile on my face. That's what I was doing this morning for an hour, was watering outside. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
it's so nice. Yeah. Well, I guess I usually like to have you introduce yourself because you know yourself better than I do. I could just like, say what I know of you, but
Okay.
just a little bit about your journey and what you do.
So I am a clinical certified hypnotherapist. And actually, last week I got the notification that I won another one. So
Wow.
I now have,
Congrats.
instead of 14 consecutive years, now it's 15 consecutive years
Wow, that's
as being,
awesome.
yes. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm a human consciousness guide. I'm an empowerment strategist, and that's a lot different than the regular coaching style, because I want to get you from point A to point B. I want to know what is preventing you from achieving that goal. Is it something internally or externally? What is it? Let's really like narrow it down.
Mhm.
And I'm an author, podcaster, blogger, spiritual advisor. I mean, you pretty much trauma informed, you pretty much name it, I'm like, oh, I'll look into it. So,
Mhm.
because
Well,
everyone is different.
yeah.
everyone is different. And like for some people, they're afraid of hypnosis, but they're totally cool with meditation. The same exact thing. You're slowing down your brainwave patterns, you're relaxing, you're opening up your subconscious mind to any positive suggestions.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm because you have so much in your toolbox of like tools to use to help
Yeah.
people find that breakthrough. I'm sure that's like why you are have more success to be able to get people from point A to point B because it's definitely not all one size fits all of what someone will need and what they feel comfortable with. Yeah.
Yes, and well, and I'm also trained in NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, and my specialty is like parts therapy, inner child, and shadow work. And so I'm always trying to find new ways to better support people because I mean, if you look at the way the world is right now, we're seriously having a mental health crisis. More people have depression, anxiety, and I want to say I think it's a beautiful thing. I know it's going to sound weird to say that, but I'd rather have that than you stuff down your feelings and your voice doesn't matter, your opinions don't matter. And that's the generation I grew up in is, don't be such a crybaby, suck it up. And yes, and the way that we were parented back then was so I mean, I saw a teacher hit a kid
Oh,
when
geez.
I was in school, in elementary school. We can't do that anymore.
No, thank
So,
goodness.
it's really positive. So yes, it is a negative that we're having this huge mental health crisis with a lot of people, but we're getting so smart and so wise. I mean, we're starting to teach trauma in high school. We're teaching about mental health in high school. We're teaching about narcissism. And I'm like, yes, thank you for
Mhm.
doing all of this because when we have the tools, then we know how to support one another better. We don't look at a person and say immediately, oh, you're crazy,
Mhm.
when it's not, it's their trauma.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I think that like that's one good thing about, with like millennials and like Gen Z, like it's become very normalized to like be able to like not be ashamed of mental health struggles.
Yeah.
And, obviously some people might be like, oh, maybe sometimes there's oversharing, but oversharing is probably better than like just like
Than not
stepping in
sharing.
there. Yeah.
Yes, it's better because some people come to me and it's like, and that's where it's a blessing, I say, that I'm so intuitive that I I can immediately pick up on what they need to work on sometimes without them even sharing it.
Mhm.
And it works wonders. It's like one person yesterday I should have had the day off, but I actually worked, and a lady came and she's has horrible procrastination and clutter and dealing with toxic people. And I told her, I said, well, your clutter is basically, and I hope it's okay to say this, I said, your clutter is basically like saying F you to everyone. And I said, your clutter is your trauma.
Mhm.
And she said, you're exactly right. Because she said, my workspace, my living room is perfect. And then she showed me pictures of her bedroom on her phone. And it was clutter, clutter, clutter. And I said, but that's your way to keep men out of your bedroom. Yeah, it's all the trauma that happened with you with your ex. That was narcissistic. So, you got to look at it as a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. So spend 1 hour a day, maybe. Just do a drawer.
Mhm.
Just do a drawer, do the dresser. But then, and she also struggled with, shopaholics because a lot of times when we have trauma, we're looking for outside comfort
Mhm.
instead of healing ourselves inside. And I said, so if you're going to spend money, you want to spend it in a way where you can get organized. I don't want you to get rid of all this clutter because you bought all this stuff, but you can organize it.
Mhm.
and you can figure out what you want to do with it, because you look at it, the whole big picture, it's so overwhelming for you to handle. You can't handle it, so you just give up.
Mhm. Well, yeah, it's a kind of similar kind of thing with like, people that have like binge eating and like
Yes.
get obese is it's a way to like protect themselves,
Yes.
and push people away. Like I'm gonna make myself unattractive, so you will leave me alone kind of thing
Well,
sometimes.
and here's an interesting story, and this goes way back before I became self-employed. God, like maybe 26 years ago. I was working with a woman and she lost a good amount of weight. And she came into the office for her session and was so mad, so livid. She's like, I blew it today. I got so pissed off. I went to the vending machine and ate 3 candy bars. And I was like, okay, what happened? She said, this guy at work that I've had a crush on for years finally noticed me and opened the door and said, you look really nice today. And she said, it pissed me off. How dare you? All the times I flirted with this guy, and the way he looked at me and treated me was like I was junk. But then when I lost the weight, oh, now you find me appealing and attractive. Made her
Hmm.
so mad. And I said, you need a parts therapy, because that part that you created, that wants to binge eat and everything is still activated by certain people, like that man. So when you integrate it and you heal and you learn from it and you give it a better job, like why don't we give it a job where now you're more selective on the type of men you want? Because that was a really good lesson. He's not your match, because he should love you for who you are more inside than how you look on the outside.
Hmm.
Because you're doing this weight to lose this weight for you. You're not losing it for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like he's like not even like someone you're thinking about like in that time when you're going through this to try to lose weight. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you might have a fling with him or whatever, but you want something that's more meaningful, something that's going to be lasting. You want a connection. You don't want something superficial and fake.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, the way that people like try to like numb themselves and like push away like their real feelings with like
Yes.
external things. There's so many like little addictions that people have, like technology, their cell phones. Like that's like a big
Yes.
one now. It's like just numbing because it's like I don't really want to like think about this and deal with this, that kind of thing. That's like such a huge thing right now. It's like
It is. And it's learning how to set those healthy boundaries with yourself. Really with yourself, because it is addictive. Well, and also with it shortens our attention span. We want this immediate gratification, and it doesn't work that way. And when you were talking about the walls, actually last week I posted a podcast episode on the undetected narcissist about the walls we build and how to dismantle them.
hmm.
This week, actually today, posted healing happens in layers, because a lot of us want instant healing, instant
Mhm.
results. It doesn't happen that way, because you think about the iceberg, we only see 10% of the top of it. 90% it is below the water.
Mhm.
So what happens with healing is you're actually spiraling up. So when you think about it, you're stuck way down in the trenches. You've got anger, resentment, bitterness, all those negative emotions, and they're hot and active. And when you process that first layer, your body and nervous system needs to adjust to it. And think about it as you chip away the top of that iceberg, and then the rest down below floats on up. And you see another 10%. But here's the beautiful thing. Now you're a different person.
Mhm.
It's not so hot. You're looking at it with new eyes, a different perspective. And I gave the example, to my kiddo, because he's been spending he got very traumatized because I'm the author of The Undetected Narcissist, Angela Meyer. It's my pen name. And I said, when you first started your healing journey, you were so mad, so angry. It's like you wanted to kill your dad. I mean, seriously, you were so mad at the world, mad at everybody. Now you're at a place you have forgiveness, you have compassion, you have wisdom and understanding because you realize he was treated that way poorly when he was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had, and I said, you can look at it from that different lens. You spiraled up into 40 human consciousness and you're still healing. You know, there's still areas and layers, but you're not where you were. And this is what he said, which was so beautiful. He said, I prayed to God to make me a flower and he gave me rain. And I was like, I love you, my child.
That is so, yeah,
He's
so
17. I
beautiful.
know. I was like, I love you. You got such great wisdom, you
Mhm.
know?
I mean, to like have that way of seeing it at 17 is
Yeah.
really impressive and beautiful.
And
Yeah.
that's what I told him. I said, some people like in their 30s and 40s aren't even where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to look at it as you're spiraling up and you have to take a break between your healing process to
Mhm.
allow your nervous system, to allow your body to adjust to it. Because think about it, is you're detoxing, you're taking out the trash.
Mhm. Well, and it's, it's kind of like, like weight loss. Like it's not linear. Like you
Yes.
have plateaus and then
Yes.
when your body adjusts and then you go down again. Like it's the same thing. Like and people I feel like can probably understand that a little bit more because they've like maybe witnessed it more.
Right.
But it's really the same thing because your body wants to find equilibrium.
It does. It really, really does. And, you know, if you keep steady on the journey, on the path, you're going to get to the end where you want to be. And I tell a lot of people, you've got to take out the word weight loss because weight loss is a negative word. You need to really focus on, I'm making a healthy lifestyle change.
Mhm.
That is better because we all know there is no such thing as permanent weight loss. You have to make a healthy lifestyle change in
Mhm.
order to achieve that goal.
Mhm.
And I tell people, you want to get to that weight where you're content and satisfied with your body. You don't want to be starving and working out like crazy and punishing yourself because
Mhm.
that's not living. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really not living.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
yeah.
people eat pizza. Then people eat cookies. We eat ice cream. We
Mhm.
just don't eat it every day or so large quantities.
Yeah. 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 Like people have like this weird idea of what actual health is. Like I've known people who have done like bodybuilding competitions and things like that, and they're so unhealthy
Yes.
because they are like start like basically like starving themselves to a point where like all of their muscles will show. It's like you eat enough so that you build the muscles and then you cut back all your calories and it's like, oh, look at that person, they're so healthy, and it's like
But
you
I
just
gotta tell
keep
you
eating.
this. I used to go to the gym all the time, and a lot of those gorgeously sculpted men had the lowest self-esteem it would shock you.
Mhm.
It would really, really shock you. And I was shocked too. And it was cute because they would always talk with me and kind of flirt with me, you know, when I was in my 30s and 40s and stuff. And I just knew, you know, hey, I like you, but you're not a match because you're so needy, you're so insecure. You have this anxious attachment style, and it would drive me nuts. I can't
Mhm.
handle it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's just funny how like we've conditioned ourselves to have these ideas of what like is healthy and normal and
And
like good and
beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that's not really the way to live.
No, it's not. Well, it's like I always like sometimes to look at the Buddha sculpture with his big belly. It's like he had so much joy and so much wisdom, and food was his friend. Yes, he was a big man, but he loved life and he loved every moment of it. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, we would say in our day standards that was unhealthy how big his belly was, but it was a belly of joy.
Yeah, definitely of joy. But and also like, I mean, if you look at like, just different times, fertility statues were like,
Yes.
these, you know, curvy, and it's like fat was like not considered an ugly thing in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and no, it's true. And that's the hardest thing is learning to love and accept our bodies. And I always tell people, your body is your oldest friend. It's going to be your steadiest companion. You're going to be driving this model till you die.
Hmm.
And it's not like you can trade it in for a younger one or a different one. You can sculpt it, the way that you want, but we really got to be nice and patient with our body because it is our vehicle.
And it's the only one you're ever gonna have. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, yeah, when I was younger, people would talk about like, treating your body like a temple, and it's all like, don't take advantage of it. It's the only one you'll have. Be nice to your knees, things like that. And I was just like, I just want to be fit. Like I didn't have like a self-compassion for my body, and like appreciating what it could do for me, like giving gratitude for like, oh, like I made it up this like difficult hike, like things like
Right.
that, and it was just like, I'm gonna exercise as punishment. I'm gonna restrict calories. I want to get to the thinnest body I can, like things like that. And I just like I wish I would have, looking back, it's like, oh, I wish I would have had like self-compassion for myself, and like just truly loved myself and my body. And yeah.
Well, and we have to look at it too as the messages we received growing up. Because, I mean, my dad's mother was super thin, super, super thin, and was very, like, would eat very, very small meals. And I just, when I looked at how restricted she was, I mean, it was healthy, but it was unhealthy at the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then, and then the messages, we get from, like my mom, when she divorced my dad, she packed on a bunch of weight and she said, I did that so he'd leave me alone.
Hmm.
And the beauty of it is when she was ready, and I became a hypnotherapist, I helped her lose 60 pounds and she just felt great. She was so happy. I mean, she wasn't like skinny, 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 but she appreciated her body and had more mobility and felt better in her body. And I'm like, yes, that's how we should, how we should be. Now, my father, he will brag to you that, oh, I'm still the same weight I was when I was in high school. Yeah, and he has the same mentality as his mom. And it's just like, no, I don't want to fast for 3 days and starve myself to,
Yeah.
get a few pounds off, but he'll do that. I mean, like these strict dedications. I'm like, dude, your extra 5 pounds is fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That pounds is not going to kill you.
Well, when I've met women, I seriously, when I worked at Positive Changes Hypnosis in the Bay Area, I met women that were so beautiful, sculpted and everything. And one lady came in and was like, she would be a complete 10, would run 5 miles a day, and she wanted weight loss. And I looked at her and I said, well, what part of your body do you hate? And she said, from the neck down. And I was like, girlfriend, you don't need weight loss. You need personal change.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said, if I had your body, I would just be in heaven. But I said, no, and I don't want to run 5 miles a day.
no,
Hell,
no.
forget that.
That's the thing. I don't want to do that. What it took you to get that body.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like from the outside, like we can have like these ideas of like who a person is, and then it's like, oh no, that's not what's happening in your head at all. You know? Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's true.
yeah. Um, I'd like to talk a little bit more about like self-compassion and giving yourself grace. Um, I think that I think it's always been difficult. I mean, like, we were talking about like diets and stuff like that. People, used to like pop, you know, speed basically to stay thin and stuff
Yes.
like that. But I feel like, right now we're kind of dealing with this issue of like we're so like inundated with like other people's perfection and like they're like that what they're putting out on the outside that I feel like it's probably like I grew up with like magazines being like this is what's perfect. But I feel like now with like social media, like it's like so like everywhere in your face of like perfection is like this is what be perfect is and like this is what you should be doing. Like how can people navigate and like to be kind to themselves through that? Yeah.
Well, it's hard because um actually I was watching an episode of it's like last week with John Oliver,
Okay.
and he did a whole thing about medi spas and how they're popping up everywhere. And like people are getting lip injections and getting, these vampire facials and all this, stuff.
Mhm.
And some of the horror stories that are happening because the doctor, they'll say yes, there's a doctor on staff here at this medi spa, but the doctor's like 3 hours away. One was even in another state.
Oof.
Yes. And so it's so well, and then there's that AI generated stuff where you could slim your body, you could thin your face, you could take your wrinkles out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So it creates this false sense and concept of what is beauty. And it really hurts people's egos wanting to look like that or be that beautiful. And the truth is, whoever is going to love you for who you are inside and out. Because I have met women that are beautiful on the outside but screaming on the inside. They hate their lives. they I mean, one woman even said she felt like the lead person in the Titanic, where she literally said, I'm screaming inside,
Mhm.
and I'm having to be compliant to this, and this. And yes, it's hard. I mean, I look at it as if you're watching something that makes you doubt yourself and start comparing yourself and feeling bad about yourself. Stop watching it. Think about it as food. You are putting toxic food and thoughts into your mind and body by comparing yourself to someone else, because that person you don't know could have spent thousands of dollars to look that artificial. I mean, there's so many women nowadays, you see their lips, they're so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, do they have to look like that? And well, and some celebrities now are starting to come out and be honest and say, yes, I got my nose done. Like the girl that was in God, what was it? Stranger Things.
Mm.
I've seen her in something recently, and I'm like, she had her lips injected.
Yeah. Yeah.
One said she had her nose done, and I was like, she looks way different than how she used to look. And yes, she looks more attractive and more appealing, but it's like, it's just weird.
Hmm.
I thought she was fine the way she was before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it. I really just don't.
Yeah.
I don't I don't get it. And even though you get the modifications to look better and to feel better, there's that upkeep too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those lip fillers, you got to get it what, like every 6 months or something,
Yeah.
and but the reality is you you want to be with someone that's really going to see you, not seeing the fake mask that you're wearing with all that artificial beauty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, it's hard. There's a really great book out there called The Anxious Generation, and it is talking about how social media is hurting teenagers so bad. Suicide rate has gone up, mental health has gone up, depression, anxiety, always comparing yourselves to other kids. I want to be famous. I want to be a star. You know, doing stunts that are dangerous
Mm-hmm.
just to be famous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um,
Because people are getting hurt and people are actually taking their lives. Like I saw something just last week about Michaela Rains, I think her name was, the animal rescue person. She was bullied so bad and she was struggling with mental health issues that she took her life.
oh.
And her husband blames all those trolls that were just being so harsh to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Unfortunately, I've heard of, quite a few people taking their lives because of online bullying and, things like that. Yeah.
It's
It's
actually a crime. People now can spend up to 5 years in prison for
wow.
doing that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's actually one of the ways a person does become narcissistic is through bullying, through trauma, through abuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're so stuck in survival mode. It's like the woman I was working with yesterday, within like 2 minutes of her talking, I looked at her and I said, "You're temporarily narcissistic. Do you know that?" And she said, "Oh, yeah, I do. I put off this FU vibe to everyone in the world." And I said, "That's your wall right there, your protective wall, but it no longer serves you, right?" She said, "Yes, it interferes with everything I want to do in my life. This wall I built, I need to dismantle it." And I said, "Yeah, you do."
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to forever send off that vibe, F you to everybody. You want to be in a place of peace. How can we get there? So I told her about, the podcast, The Undetected Narcissist, of grace through acceptance, of how to forgive the unforgivable, to why people cheat. And I said, that's the important thing. I said, just because the title is Why People Cheat, you're going to learn things about yourself, like why you're emotionally unavailable, the hot and cold dynamic, the push and pull, the ones that need constant attention and gratification.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see, I said, I saw myself in that episode, and I talk about it because it's being transparent and raw and real. We're here to help each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like to talk more about trauma, you know, and how can, how can people build like tear down those walls, I guess, is like because like, you know, everyone seems like they're dealing with very similar kind of things where like, these things happen and they like you put up mechanisms to protect yourself. Yeah.
Well, I actually included a free guided meditation in there. So after the episode, there's a standalone free one to listen to on recognizing your wall and dismantling it. There's also a free meditation about grace through acceptance. And I told her I taught myself this technique of seeds blowing in the wind. And I said, so think about this concept. When we are with a toxic person and they say something that triggers a reaction, think about it as a seed blowing by in the wind. And what happens is you grab it, and the only one that waters it is you. with your anger, disappointment. How dare you? You can lose sleep over it, and it grows and festers. It turns into a weed. You know, that's why you've got to realize it's a seed. Do I want to water it and be miserable, or do I want to let it float on by? Because that's their stuff. There's their projection. That's their anger. They want you to grab it. So let it flow on by. And I told her about the meditation. It's like the rock and the river. Think of your life as a river. You're flowing through it, and you are going to encounter a boulder. Everybody does. And we want to beat the boulder and move the boulder, but you can't. And you got to realize that boulder is there for a reason. It's your teacher. It is, because we're all students and teachers for each other. So when you figure out the lesson that boulder there is to teach you, whether it's boundaries, speak your voice, stand up for yourself, love yourself, be more self-accepting, be not so judgmental, then you can recognize the boulder for what it is and just float on around it and continue on your journey. We don't have to take everything so personal and internalize it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, isn't there like that very famous quote of like drinking poison, thinking it will kill the other person? It's like,
Yes.
yeah. It's like you're only hurting yourself.
You really are. And that's the hard truth. And like even about, how to forgive the unforgivable. I tell you exactly what I did, and the mantra that I created, and how it just changed my life completely, where most people would consider that person a monster. But then I'm able to be around that person, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Because he has no more hooks or fangs in me. It's all detached. And I look at it as it's just information, because that's what everyone has. We all have our own pain stories. Everybody does. But our pain stories have lessons within them. They don't have to define us. It's not a label. And once you dive in and you look at that pain story of what did that story try to teach me? Like, was I taking it too personal? Was I projecting my insecurities on the other person? Was I too clingy? What was it? And then you thank it. You really thank it, and you release those energetic cords, because we do live in a world where it is energy and frequency. And so you're taking out that dense negative energy out of you, which lifts you up. And that's why I say all the tools you need exist in 4D human consciousness, which is courage, compassion, where you're balanced, grounded, centered. There's forgiveness, there's kindness, there's patience. But when you're stuck in 3D human consciousness, that's anger, hate, disappointment. You're egotistical, judgmental, black and white thinking, envy, jealousy, shame, guilt, blame shifting. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And just to let your viewers know, if they don't know, if they want to know more about, human consciousness, I created these images. If you go to mastertheupperrooms.com, free stuff and free images, there's charts on there like what is 3D human consciousness, what is 4D, and what is 5.
Okay.
And I tell people, when I sit down with clients, I know exactly where they are on the 3D chart.
Sure.
I listen to their pain story. I see where they're stuck. And I then use the tools in the 4D bracket so they can have compassion. So they, like with my son, where I said, your dad was abused as a child. His dad made him go out into the woods and get a stick to hit him with. Yeah. His dad was an alcoholic. His mom was very passive aggressive. I mean, it explains why he became the person that he did. And you got to have compassion for him, you know, because you are going to break that cycle of abuse.
Mhm.
You're not going to repeat the cycle. So that's the gift he's giving you, is being a horrible example as a parent, you know, as a person. You're going to rise above it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good to be able to reframe um these pain stories into the lessons that you learn from them. And like,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, we see people that like the girl that got attacked by a shark and lost her arm or something.
Mhm.
She still surfs.
Yeah.
She's an inspiration. She didn't quit. People that lost their legs and they're still running and doing all kinds of amazing things. They didn't give up on themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember like this one story, what was it? She lost her legs, did it wasn't because of snowboarding, but it was I think she got like some sort of illness or something. I don't know, something happened, I can't remember. She lost her legs, but she was just like, you're not going to tell me that I can't snowboard anywhere. And so
Yeah.
she like went out, like she worked with scientists and like she developed these like this attachment in these legs and like, like these things. And it's just like, that's amazing. You're like,
Yes.
I'm not going to be held back by this, thing that happened to me. It's not going to be a tragedy.
Well,
Yeah.
it's an inspiration. And then it's also a gift because then there's other people that lost their legs that would love to snowboard too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, wow, you turn this around into something that like benefited who knows how many lives, right? Kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, we're getting our conversation is going so well, but I'm like realizing I'm like, wow, we're already 45 minutes into it.
I know. I mean, you could talk. People always say I could talk to you for hours
I
because
know,
I
I
have
really
so
could.
much wisdom.
I really could. Yeah, I wish I had hours, right? I always like to ask my guests, how do you define fun?
Oh, just being so silly. To me, just being silly, burping, farting, you know, where you laugh so hard you snort. You know, I mean, things like that, where you're just so carefree and playful like a kid, and life is beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You appreciate everything around you. It's like going to Disneyland, but you're not at Disneyland.
Hmm.
I mean, I could go outside and be one with, you know, the wild turkeys, and I could crow back to Mr. Rooster and just have a blast. I mean, this morning I went outside. We own a few cats, and my husband calls me the Pied Piper, and they all come out of the woodwork. Oh, mommy's outside. Mommy's outside.
Oh, come prancing out from wherever they were hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, to me, that's, you know, fun, enjoying yourself, you know, having a good meal, dancing to music, you know, even just singing and dancing in your car. I mean, I do that all the time.
I do that all the time. I know, like I love it. I'm like it's like driving from one place to the other can seem like, like, oh, traffic, but like I'm having a ball in my car. People look over at me probably being like, oh man, she's getting into it,
That's right.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's like there's always an opportunity to have fun, you know, as opposed
Yes,
to
they're
being like,
always, yeah, because I remember one time when I was, you know, lived in the Bay Area, to drive 10 miles took me over an hour. Literally, and you could take any back road you wanted, but going down, you know, 101 was a nightmare.
mhm,
And going back home, oh, that was easy. I'd be home in, you know, like 20 minutes, no problem. Easy peasy. But I remember one time there was an accident, and I was sitting on the freeway for over an hour, and I saw someone coming on and noticed all the traffic, and she was hitting her steering wheel so mad and this and that. And
mhm.
I looked over and I thought, I've been stuck in this for an hour And I've made peace with it. I really hope you can make peace with it too, because we don't have a helicopter. My car doesn't fly. I can't go any faster. It's a choice. How do I want to feel? Do I want to be full of rage like you? Or do I want to calm down, listen to an audiobook or some fun music and just, hey, I'm going to be late. That's the end of it.
Yep.
Stuck in traffic.
Yep. You're being able to like let go of all the things that you can't control and just like you're just
Yeah.
along for the ride. It makes such a huge difference. There's so much you can't control in this life. Like you just have to let go, you know.
Yes, and learn to go with the flow and learn when to shift gears.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's really important because we all have a choice every second of every moment of the day, how you want to feel, how you want to perceive the situation.
Hmm.
And that's why I tell everyone you do want to learn about all the toxic traits and behaviors, because if you don't know what reactive abuse is, that can happen to you. If you don't know, what's projection, you could take something personally. If you don't know what gaslighting is or stonewalling or baiting or any of those things, you can fall victim to it. And when we fall victim to it, we do take it personal.
Hmm.
We think there's something wrong with us. We immediately go there.
Hmm.
We immediately go to self-blame. But when we know the definitions and the ways and the games, you then have a choice because you could sit back and observe the person. You become very self-aware instead of unaware.
Hmm.
And you see it for what it is, and you realize, oh, I triggered them. Okay, that person is being reactive now.
Hmm.
And I just need to stay grounded, balanced, and centered. And so, like with the seeds blowing in the wind, when someone's, trying to start an argument, I just let it float on by. I stay the center of peace. And the real beautiful thing is they end up actually giving up because you're not fun anymore.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You didn't give me the reaction I was looking for.
That's right.
Oh. Yeah.
I know, because I had a family member the other day, not just the other day, I think it was like last month. My son was shocked. He's like, I can't believe you didn't get mad about the comment they made. I said, what comment they make? He's like, well, you were talking about something and they looked over at you and said, your rambling sounds like you're schizophrenic. And I said, I don't even remember hearing that. He's like, well, I've been so pissed off that they said that about you. And I said, that's their projection.
Yeah.
I said, I just let that crap go by because they knew that would offend me. And it's like, dude, I'm not letting you sink your claws in me.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they like to fight, they like to argue. And it's like, I don't want to fight and argue. I'm done with that with you.
Hmm. Yeah. Been there, done that. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah. So I just sometimes silence is golden. It's like, okay, just let it float on by, just say nothing. And then it's weird because at the end of the visit, the person's like, oh, I just love you. It's so nice to see you again, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, right.
Uh-huh. Yep, yep, yep. I also like to ask, I guess, what is your play personality? According to the Institute of Play, there's 8 play personalities. The Joker, kinesthetic, competitor, explorer, creative, storyteller, collector, and director. And you can be more than one.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm definitely a storyteller because in my podcast, I tell a lot of stories to help people and I tell metaphor stories so they can really grasp the concept. I
Mhm.
am very creative. I like to mix and blend different things to help people have different perspectives. And I like to be silly sometimes. I really do. I'm very playful. Well, we're having a playful conversation.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can kind of see that. I used to be a little competitive, but I don't really like that. I mean, I grew up with four brothers, okay? I was the only
Mhm.
girl. I mean,
Okay.
having four brothers and them telling you, you can't do this, you're a girl, it
Mhm.
made me kind of, competitive in that way. It's like, no, I'll prove that I can do it,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Like I mean, in a way it's like a survival thing like I'm part of your
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
tribe.
So I like to think outside of the box. I'm so that my fun is creative. I like to, well, all the content that I create, is my content,
Yeah.
and that's definitely, creative. How can I help people shift their perspective and not feel so stuck or so lost? And how can I do it in a way that's no judgment? It's just honesty.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm here, I see you, I get you, I understand you. And I give an example. I haven't posted it yet, the one about shadow work, but I tell you the difference between awareness and judgment. Because awareness is you see it and you're like, oh, I get it, I get it. But judgment immediately is, no, you're bad, you're flawed, there's something wrong with you. And that's wrong,
Mhm.
because you can notice the flaws and imperfections in another person without it being judgment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, and I think like learning how to do that to yourself also
Yes.
is uh, very important. Like, be like,
Stop comparing yourself.
yeah. And like, I mean, isn't that like really a big part of like shadow work is like just being like the awareness of like, yes, I see that I do this, and like like accepting it and just being like not being like beating yourself up about it.
Yes. So like I give you an example of someone that is my mirror. And that mirror is it's Teal Swan. And she is a considered she's got 1 million followers, spiritual leader, all of that, but she's a spiritual narcissist. And she has not integrated her shadow side. She actually has weaponized it, and she's waterboarding people.
Mm.
Yeah, and people are paying lots of money for that. It's that no pain, no gain concept. But the thing is when you have that angel archetype, you have that, and that's me. You do not harm anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You do not. You are here to be of service. There's ways you can be a spiritual teacher, a spiritual enlightener without causing pain and suffering to another.
Mm-hmm.
And I use her as the example, because I'm taking a study course, and I didn't know that my instructor was a fan of hers. And
Mm-hmm.
she actually posted a video called Why People Hate Teal Swan, and he wanted us to watch it. After I told him, I'm like, dude, she's got spiritual narcissism. And he didn't believe me. And when I watched that video, it actually inspired me to make that new episode because, yes, she is my mirror. She's still got the anger and the rage that hasn't been healed and processed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she she uses her sexual side as manipulation, and I did that when I was in my 20s and 30s. I knew how to use my body, how to use my looks, how to seduce a man, but it was wrong because I hurt so many good people.
Mm-hmm.
And I even say sorry to those men that I hurt because I was emotionally unavailable. And the hard part is when I was, healing and recover, changing, integrating that shadow side, I wanted deeper connections, but I was still attracting the wrong type of people.
Mm-hmm.
I really try to be transparent because all of us have imperfections. All of us are perfectly imperfect. And
Mm-hmm.
we can't learn unless we're being real and honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if we're not, we're always wearing a mask. We're always pretending to be someone that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you watch Hollywood movies, anti-villains, like Marvel, John Wick, That is their shadow side. They have not integrated. They've weaponized it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the hard part is it's getting darker and more gore and more violence, and we pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we internalize it. It makes us numb to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it makes it seem acceptable to explode and have rage in someone's face when really it's not. That's your unprocessed anger and unresolved childhood wounds that are literally being spewed out onto another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you learn to integrate that anger and that thing, you will not hurt another person. If you do by accident, you feel so much guilt and so much shame
Mm-hmm.
because you went against your vow. You went against your agreement with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I could keep talking forever.
I know we could.
Uh, I I guess where can the audience find you?
So an easy way to find me, well, is my name because it's spelled differently. It's Kerie, last name Logan. I'm on Master the Upper Rooms. That's all about human consciousness. I'm also on the Undetected Narcissist. And then I have another website called Empowered Within. That was the very first one that I started. I'm on YouTube, on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Yeah, there, and I also offer a free 15-minute consultation. So if you want to talk to me, you want to tell me your pain story, where you're at, you see what your options are, you can have a free chat. And you just go to Master the Upper Rooms, and under the free stuff, you'll see under there is the opportunity to, yeah, have a free consultation. I tell people, take it, it doesn't hurt anything, and there's lots of free stuff. There's free ebooks on there. There's free MP3 downloads, and there's that podcast I'm working on for season 4 of the Undetected Narcissist. Lots of free meditations and all kinds of stuff on there too.
Yeah, sounds like there's a lot of resources, and
Yes.
you're a wealth of knowledge, and and I had so much fun talking to you. I really could have gone for another hour easily.
Yeah. No, it could have.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on, Kerie.
Thank you, and I hope all your listeners have a fabulous rest of their week.
Thank you. You have a good
Okay.
week too.
All right. Take care.